Greetings. Today I'll talk about Javier Milei's ideas, some of the ideas, and we'll start with one of the latest speeches that he made. I like this idea, this quote very much, so let me first play the audio, then I'll translate it for you.
El tema es que el único que puede generar riqueza en este país y en el mundo entero es el empresario, no el...
Okay, at first he says, in fact, the only people who can generate wealth in this country and around the world is the entrepreneur, the businessman, not the politician, he says.
político. El político no sabe cómo crear riqueza.
The politician doesn't know, and the stress no sabe in Spanish, doesn't know. The politician doesn't know how to generate wealth
Y tiene los incentivos adecuados para hacerlo.
and doesn't have the adequate motivation. He says incentivos adecuates, but adequate incentives or motivation, I'd say, to do that.
Y cuando lo quiere hacer, lo único que genera es corrupción.
And thus, when the politician tries to generate wealth, what he or she can create is corruption. And I love this idea. This is pretty simple, but also pretty profound, and I would say pretty true. And I'd like to break that down and invite you to analyze this thought, why it is so, right? So how does economy work in free market capitalism, in a free society? If I want to generate money, and if I'm ethical, I'm not a criminal, I want to generate money through business or through honest means, I will offer something in exchange. So fair exchange is the basis of a free economy. Suppose I have a cup. I maybe bought this cup from someone else and I will resell this cup. I paid, let's say, $5 for this cup, and I'll try to sell it for 10, although that would be pretty good, and the chances are that it might not succeed. I might not succeed. Or maybe if I choose rich neighborhoods and I market it correctly, it might even work with, doubling the price. But in general, I'd try to sell it maybe with $7, a little more, a little less. Okay? So one thing is to sell a product that you either made yourself or maybe you bought it and you will resell it. Or I could offer some kind of service. Hi, madam, or hi, sir, I can clean your pool. I know how to do that, yeah? And in exchange, I'll ask for, let's say, $50 or $30 or $20 per hour, yeah? That's also fair. Or maybe I know how to make Facebook Reels. You can pay me so that I make Facebook Reels for you, or you can pay me so that I teach you or your employee how to do that. So I offer something in exchange of money, yeah? Service or product. Politicians, they don't make products, yeah, physically. A politician takes decisions, yeah. He decides something is okay to do and something isn't okay to do. So making products, no, he doesn't really make those. And when it comes to providing services, again, does the politician teach you something in exchange of your money? Not really. He just sits there and he comes up with decisions. Yeah, we pay the judges. Yeah, we pay the coaches when the decision is important. It's about our lives, etc., etc. But with politicians, it's not really like that, and the politician can come up with a decision that you won't like. Yeah, some group of people will like it, other group of people won't like it. So it's not really a win-win, and we don't really pay the politicians for their decisions, right? So that's the problem with politicians. You say, okay, let me just. That's the problem because their decisions may be against us. Yeah. Suppose I am an entrepreneur and I create my own business and I don't want to pay a lot of taxes for the poor, for the old, etc., etc. The politician can play the, how shall I call it, the mercy card, like let's be merciful, let's be kind, the kindness card. And of course, there will be a lot of non-businessmen, non-creators who will be, yeah, I want that money from the rich, I want to get food stamps, etc., etc. So the politician may get a lot of support from a lot of people who do not really create anything, and that won't be just to the creator, yes, who doesn't really want to pay those high taxes. And that's why a lot of creators move away from socialist countries or countries that are democratic, but they are ruled by socialist-like democrats. And that's why we have businesses overseas or offshore businesses. And that's why we have those big companies creating their factories in China, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, because they save a lot of money and they don't pay a lot of taxes when they do that. Yeah. So this constant war between mercy and between justice is ongoing, and I'd like to expand on that. In modern world, I would say the left, the political left, is Christians without Christ, meaning it's just a very secular, irreligious form of Christianity. What I mean by this is that in Christianity, especially in early Christianity, and even now, what is Christianity about? Altruism. You should sacrifice yourself. This world is bad. Jesus Christ is holy. Your whole life is about service. You should serve Christ, you should serve God, and this is your real motivation to life. Yeah? And then if you do that, if you are altruistic and you sacrifice yourself, you do a lot of kindness and good deeds for the poor, for the lame, as it says in the Bible, yeah, you will be rewarded in the afterlife. You will go to a better world. And early Christians were like this. And when they were persecuted, they were very proud of being persecuted. They were ready to sacrifice themselves. And according to those legends and stories, when the Roman emperors would feed the Christians to the lions in the arenas, in the circuses, etc., in the colosseums, the Christians would be praying and they would be peaceful, they would be okay with that, at least a lot of them. Yeah. So this self-sacrifice culturally is the code with which a lot of Western civilizations and civilizations that grew on some Abrahamic religions move on. And we see this also in the Democrats, in the lefts. It can be a little more centric left, it can be radical left, so socialists, communists, Marxists, Democrats in general. I'm not saying democracy is bad, okay? But I'm criticizing this self-sacrificial trait in the left. And I'm not considering myself to be a right-wing person, okay? I'm calling myself an objectivist. And I'm inviting you to discover my page on objectivism and subscribe to it. There you'll find a lot of videos, also shorts, on the philosophy of objectivism, on ethics, epistemology, metaphysics, and I'm going to make also videos on politics. So modern left has this trait of self-sacrifice. For instance, when we look at the migration policy, the left is merciful. It is open to the poor and to the lame. Mm? And even after those huge protests in the UK, in Germany, where we also see radical Islamists that beat the white nationalists in those countries, still there is this movement for almost uncontrollable immigration into the UK, into Europe. True that it is true that they are um, sending away some migrants, especially criminals, but still the idea is that we're open to migration, and in the US it is a big issue. We have good migrants, and I can become a migrant myself. So I'm not against migration as a whole. I'm against illegal migration, and I'm against proportions. Yeah, when millions and millions of migrants go into a new country and they try to bend their host country and make it something out of which they ran away. It's crazy how, in Germany, they speak of a new Islamic caliphate, the Turkish male migrants, for instance, yeah, and in the UK, how they speak of making Sharia laws. Well, you ran away from those countries. Yeah, you ran away from your host home countries that were Sharia based, that were very conservative and Islamic, and now you're trying to destroy the countries in which you live. So what will come up next? What will be next if you succeed? You'll run away from those countries. You'll run away to other capitalist and free countries, and you'll try to destroy those other countries. So that's insane. I'm Armenian by my nationality, and I also criticize Christian Armenians who do the same. We have a lot of Christian Armenians, conservative Armenians, that go to Europe, to the US, especially in Los Angeles. We even have a neighborhood called Little Armenia. They go there and they criticize their new countries. Oh, this bloody West. Oh, they are tolerating LGBT and transgenders. It's bad. We need to make a Christian conservative kingdom out of this country. So they try to destroy the countries they moved to. Well, if your conservative Christian Armenia wasn't good enough for you, why are you trying to destroy the free America or the free France or Spain with your conservative, stupid, narrow minded ideas? And what will happen if you succeed? What will happen is you yourself will run away from the conservative hellhole that you will make because you already ran away from your Pakistan, Afghanistan, Syria, Armenia, etc. So that's why I'm against this. And when Javier Milei speaks of the politicians creating corruption, it's also about this. Politicians need the support of the majority, and that's why they play this majority card, and it's about choosing your niche. Yeah, let's call it that way. Some, like right-wingers, choose conservative Christians like Donald Trump, and some left-wing politicians choose migrants, uh, also illegal migrants. I understand that there are a lot of, or some good people, I don't really have the numbers, like decent Russians that ran away from Russia and they went to the US through Mexico. Yeah. And I even had students like that, Armenians, illegal Armenian migrants who already live in Los Angeles. So I totally get that. But crossing a country illegally is still a crime. And when the Democrats are saying we need to give permission to all the illegal migrants, they are equalizing the good migrants and the bad migrants. Have you seen the footage of those Venezuelan migrants? If I'm not mistaken, they were from Venezuela with guns. I think it was in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. They just burst into the houses of people armed, and they just take the buildings. Sometimes it's just in an entire building. They steal and cheat, and we have this crazy law, I think, in California, when someone steals something from the shop and it's below, the cost is below $1,000, the thief, the robber, can just walk away. He won't be persecuted. So what the left does is self-destruction, that Christian culture of self-sacrifice. And the left politicians, because they cannot create wealth, as Milei says, they create corruption with those laws. What is corruption? It means destruction. It is something that does not really function, yeah? Something that decays and destroys itself. So when the political left chooses mercy over justice, and they're like, oh, let's forgive the thieves, let's forgive the bad guys, let's give everybody a chance, on and on and on, that creates corruption. And Christianity has this corruption in itself, because, for instance, when in Catholicism, if you live a bad life, and in some other branches of Christianity, you can be a thief, a robber, a murderer, a rapist, and by the very end of your life, you can go like, oh, I'm very sorry about what I did, and you will be forgiven, and you can go to heaven if a priest is next to you when you die, and if a priest says, okay, now we accept your repentance, and you are a good Christian from now on, yeah? Or you can steal a lot of money and you can build some churches. In Apostolic Church in Armenia, we have this tradition when oligarchs are building churches with dirty money. And that's okay. If the money is bloody, still the church will bless you, and they'll be happy for the church. It's like Adolf Hitler, who kills millions of people, Jews, Germans, Gypsies, LGBT people, and then he does something good, and they will be, oh, okay, now we don't have a problem. That's not just. That's merciful, but that's not just. So, in the code of Christianity and political left, we have this mercy which overrides, which also destroys justice. And we see this happen. That is corruption. And politically, the political left is creating a lot of corruption. When they take my money or your money and you disagree, like as a teacher of English, I earn, let's say, $20 per hour. And in some countries, the left politicians are like, you need to pay 5 or 10 out of those $20 so that we can build orphanages for the orphans and support the poor. Well, if I decide it myself, that's fine. I can make donations to an orphanage, and that will be fine whenever I choose myself. Yeah, and how much to transfer, and how often to do that. But politicians are disregarding my desire and my thinking, and they're like, no, every month we will take 20 or 40 or 50% of your salary, and we will do good deeds. Sometimes I do not donate because I ask myself, what if that person which needs urgent support is a homophobe? And what if that person hates me because of my sexuality? Or what if that person is a bad parent and that person was mistreating their child for decades? If I don't know the history behind that person, I will not be merciful just for like that. I'm a rational person. I don't live by my emotions. And in political left, that altruism and that sense of guilt, I am guilty because this person lives in worse conditions. What if that person lives in worse conditions because that person has been rejecting the idea of personal development, of education, We have libraries. Some of them are free. We have a lot of clubs for learning foreign languages, etc., etc. And if the person chooses not to progress, why the hell I should feel guilty about the fact that that person is poor? And that sense of guilt is exploited by the leftists, by the left. And they are very merciful, and mercy kills justice regularly. Suppose I'm donating, I'm a Jew, I'm a rich Jew, and I'm donating to a US university, which is fine with pro-Palestinian radicals that say Israel should be destroyed. And suppose I'm a Jew who lived in Israel or who loves Israel because of their Jewish roots, and why the hell should I finance an institution that tolerates this kind of calls to genocide? Because when the state of Israel is destroyed, Jews will be slaughtered, just as it happened on October 7 last year. And those pro-Palestinian folks, some of them are so radical, so illiterate, and so criminal that they deny what happened last October. They're like, oh no, the bloody Zionists made that story up. Of course, it's offensive, and of course, I, as a rational human being, wouldn't like to support universities like that. And when the political left makes me support all those institutions with increasing taxes, of course, that's not just. Yes, it's not just, but it's merciful. So and that creates corruption. When Milei speaks of politicians that create corruption, I want you to understand that creating that corruption is basically done through being merciful and being kind and allowing kindness and mercy to destroy justice and reason, you see? So my this video was about that. I hope I made you understand how politicians, and it can be left-wing politicians, it can be right-wing politicians, radical nationalism, fascism, or an expression of fascism which was Nazism, and modern-day Russism in Russia. All these things are as condemnable as the leftist policies. Yeah, that's a little different on the right wing. Sometimes they don't take mercy as their weapon for creating corruption, for generating corruption. They take some other tools, like it can be anger, it can be some forms of conservatism. But in this video, I covered Milei's speech, and I spoke of how the left destroys justice and reason through mercifulness and equalization, when everybody is treated equally. Like, you can be a just migrant, you can be a criminal migrant, but the left will be like, we should give citizenship to all the illegal migrants, to all the 11 million or however much they are. So that equalization contains the seed of socialism, and it comes from Christianity again. Because in Christianity, in the New Testament, we have this thought that in Jesus Christ, everybody is equal. A Jew, a Greek, a woman, a man, if you accept Jesus Christ, you're all equal. And then there's a call to equality was taken. So first, the first Jew who offered this was Jesus Christ. And then we had another Jew, Karl Marx, who took that further, and he secularized this idea of total equalization or equality. And we have Marxism, we have socialism, we have communism, and again, even that was offered by Jews. So actually, Jews gave the world a lot. Yes, Nobel Prize winners, science, technology, a lot was invented by the Jews, and my grandmother is Jewish too. So I want you to understand that I'm not um, going into anti-Semitism with these ideas. But Jesus was a Jew, yeah, and he heavily relied on Judaism and Christianity and Islam. They are born from Judaism, yeah, the religion of the Jews of Israel. So then another Jew, Marx, offered this same idea of equalizing everybody through political and economical means, communism, socialism, and that brought a lot of destruction as well. Christianity brought a lot of destruction. We had the Crusades, yeah, where lots of people were killed and destroyed, both Muslim and Christian and people following maybe some other faiths in Middle East where the Christians would march. In the Middle Ages, there was a lot of witch hunt, a lot of women and people who were different, LGBT people, etc., were killed and persecuted throughout the existence of Christianity. So both Christianity was bloody, and communism and socialism, these were bloody as hell as well. Yeah, we had communist China, lots of communist states in South America, some communism in Europe. So of course, we had USSR and Stalin, which killed millions and millions of people through starvations, through persecutions in gulags, which were like concentration, labor camps. So those ideas of equalization, let's treat everybody equally, brought a lot of destruction and corruption into this world. And the left, the political left, continues taking this road when now the Democrats in the US are speaking of giving all the migrants citizenship. It's yet another expression of this secular Christianity. Let's treat everybody equally, regardless whether you're a good migrant, even if you're illegal, but you can be a good migrant which tries to create a new life for themselves, or you can be a criminal, and they're like, let's give everybody a citizenship. All right. If you have your comments, your questions, I'll be happy to answer these. So leave your comments, and again, read the description of this video. You'll find my new channel on the philosophy of objectivism. It's a community. I'm creating a community of new intellectuals. If you understand what I'm talking about, if you want to practice your English also, and if you want to become a part of a new community, you are welcome to like that channel and follow it. And see you soon. Thank you for your time.